Hi, and welcome to Tremor Trails, the channel that's geared all around the F-150 Ford Tremor. This channel is for people that may be new to off-roading, overlanding, and adventure seeking in their Ford Tremor. What we try and do on this channel is give you tips and tricks and highlight trails to give you an overview of what you can expect when you're out there exploring these trails yourselves. With that being said, today we're doing a pretty popular trail out in the Moab desert, Hurrah Pass. Let's go check it out. All right, Hurrah Pass. Hurrah Pass is located in Moab, Utah. This is a pretty busy trail, lots of camping out here, so just pay attention to that during peak season. Hurrah Pass itself is 24.6 miles round trip. You can expect 3.5 to 4 hours to get this one done, so plan accordingly. With that being said, what can we expect? Well, it's obviously dirt, there's some minor rock ledges, and on the backside, it's a pretty steep shelf road. The modes used were 4 high sand and snow and 4 low rock crawl. The highlight of this trail is going to be the Hurrah summit itself. The views on that side are pretty awesome. Also remember, we review all of our trails at the end of our video, so check that out. And also please remember that our cameras have stabilizers on them, so the hills are not going to appear as steep and the bumps are not going to be as rough. Now let's check it out. Before we get on the trail proper, I wanted to highlight the road we're on right now. This is Kane Creek Road. You're going to use Kane Creek Road to get to a vast amount of off-road trails in the Moab area. This is one of the major camping areas outside of Moab. The reason I wanted to talk about this road really fast is that if you don't have time to go do an off-road trail, but you have a little bit of time in Moab, you can definitely take this trail and come down and see some really cool views. Also, there's some Indian petroglyphs. There's a place called Birthing Rock, and just some good scenes. So, keep that in your back pocket if you don't have enough time to do an actual trail. First part of this trail is pretty easy. You're just a little bit of loose gravel and some small minor rock shelves. The scenery gets better as you start to climb an elevation. Now I'm just being picky. The scenery is incredible everywhere out in Moab. But all in all, it's a pretty low-key trail, nothing major as you start climbing up towards the summit. So let's go. As you come around the side of the mountain there, it gets a little bit more technical for a quick short minute, but nothing major, no bottoming out or anything. There's some really cool spots up here. There's a point that jets all the way out that was occupied by a bunch of people at the time when we were coming through. But there's also a major overlook that we're about to get to here in a second. A really cool place to stretch your legs and take a cool picture before you get to the summit. There you have it, Hurrah Pass, Hurrah Summit. You can see the Potash Ponds back there in the distance, the Colorado River almost in the middle of the screen. And of course, that is Canyonlands National Park way off in the distance. Most people turn around right here unless they're continuing on to another trail like Chicken Corners or Jackson Hole. This is a pretty steep shelf back road. That's what we do on this channel, is see what we can do on our Tremor. So we're going to switch into 4 low rock crawl and go check it out. So this is where the cameras kind of lie to you. It looks like the shelf road's pretty wide right here and forgiving. Also, it looks like we're not at a steep angle, but if you look way out there, you can see how steep we are. My cameras are level with my truck. There's some pretty skinny sections through here, especially coming up to what we're about to come up to, which is the fence line. This is probably the skinniest part of the shelf road, but we got through it just fine. At first, I thought I was going to have to pull in my mirrors, but I didn't. The wheelbase is just fine. Just take your time getting down the mountain. You'll be good to go. Also, thank you so much for the feedback and comments so far on our channel. We're a fairly new channel. We're going to get the drone going and get some better outside footage to really show the Tremor working these trails in future videos. So about a half mile to a mile further from where Hurrah Pass actually ends. There's no sign or anything. I would consider this the gatekeeper to Chicken Corners and maybe Jackson Hole. I was going to attempt to do Chicken Corners this day, but looking at the time, there just wasn't enough time to do it, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to go back to it. It's one I've always wanted to do. Straight ahead from here, about an hour and a half, is Chicken Corners, so it would have taken us 2.5 hours to get back to this point, and then another hour and a half to get out. So just always pay attention to your time, because as much as we want to keep going, you got to remember you got to get back out of these places. So we just enjoyed the shade and had a nice little dinner and turned around and got back up on the trail. I will have to say that going up was way easier than coming down, and the views were really cool with the sun setting. So there you have it, Hurrah Pass. Hurrah Pass was kind of a love-hate relationship for me. It was pretty busy the day we did it, and to be honest with you, it wasn't one of my most favorite trails I've ever done. With that being said, do I regret it? No, not at all. It was still worth the trip to do it at least once. What we do on this channel is give all our trails a trail rating, 1 through 5, being fun, fear, technical, and scenery. For fun, it's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. The front part of Hurrah Pass up to the pass itself really wasn't that much fun. I'll just be honest with you. You're kind of just crawling up a little bit through some rock ledges. You're dealing with traffic. It's bumpy. The scenery's great because it's Moab, but at the same time, was it that fun? No, not really. The backside of Hurrah Pass was a lot more fun because it was a little bit more challenging. So all in all, I'm giving it a 2.5. For fear, it's the same kind of thing. The front side of this trail up to the pass is not very fearful. The backside, however, has a pretty good clinch factor, I'll be honest. You're going 4 low down a pretty steep grade, an extremely tight shelf road in areas, and on the hairpin turns, there are some obstacles. There's some rock ledges that you gotta navigate while being in that downward position. Not to mention that on the shelf road, there are some pretty good steep drop-offs. So with that being said, a total overall average of this trail, I would give it as a 3.5. That leads me into technical. Same kind of thing. The front side of this trail, not very technical at all. I don't remember anything, and even watching the footage with you guys back, there was nothing that stuck out to me as technical at all. It's just kind of a rough, bumpy road. However, once you get to the top of the pass and you go down the other side of the pass, it does get technical. You have the tight shelf road. You have the hairpin turns with the rock ledges that you got to navigate. You have traffic coming at you or behind you. There's definitely a pucker factor on the backside of this trail. So therefore, I give this trail a technical rating of 3.5. For scenery, it's hard to judge, and I'll explain why. We had already been in Moab for several days doing tons of trails, and how can you say any part of Moab is not beautiful? Taking into consideration that we had been there already, the scenery rating was not as high. The front part of the trail, sure, it's pretty in spots, but once you get to the overlook, you're overlooking a bunch of RVs and other people on the trails. The backside, beautiful. It opens up, you see the Colorado River, you see the Potash Ponds, you see the whole Canyonlands National Park from there. So the backside of this trail is really beautiful. That being said, If I take all of it all together, the scenery, 3. So the overview, Hurrah Pass. Do I regret doing the pass? No, not at all. Not only that, you have to do that trail to get to Chicken Corners and to get to some of the other trails out there in the Moab Desert. So will I drive it again? Yes, I got to. If I was in Moab for a day and I only could do 1 or 2 trails, would this be one of the trails I did? No, it wouldn't be. Is it a trail that you can do if you have some spare time at the end of a trip or at the beginning of a trip? Absolutely, go do it. It's still a beautiful trail in spots. All the trails out there are beautiful, all the trails out there are gorgeous, and all the trails have their own kind of thing. For me, however, this one just didn't rate as high as the other trails that we did in Moab. It could have just been all the traffic, it could have been the people, or it could have just been the trail itself. It just was kind of a forgettable trail, except for the backside. The backside was fun. I really appreciate you hanging out with me, watching these videos, leaving comments down below on this trail or any of the trails that you see. We really appreciate it. We're really building subscribers, and it wouldn't be because of you guys. So thank you so much, and until next time, we'll see you on the trails.